Jeff Kerr is here. We're going to talk a little NFL, Eagles, everything. Of course, CBS Sports. Get all your Eagles at 97.3 ESPN.com. All the Eagles camp updates and news and notes you need. Jeff Kerr at Jeff Kerr CBS, and he is here on a Sports Bash Friday to go over all of the details of what happened today over at camp and what's going on this week. Jeff, what's going on, man?
Hey, Mike, been a pretty interesting couple of days for the Eagles. Not as much drama as the NFC East is going through right now, but for the Eagles, it's I guess you could say it's business as usual. I guess it's the normal storylines. Unlike, we're not talking about vaccines. We're not talking about cutting players because they're overweight. It's kind of relaxing, honestly.
Well, let's first start something out of Eagles camp that has something to do with the Eagles, and that's Carson Wentz and this foot injury here and how that could affect the Eagles and what we know about this foot problem and how long it could keep him out for.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Mike, it's not looking good for him. He keeps seeing foot specialist, Dr. Robert Anderson. I believe that's who he's seeing. He's one of the best in the business when it comes to this. And so if he's going to him, you really have to wonder, how long is this guy going to be out for? And it doesn't look like he's going to be coming back anytime soon. I mean, I tweeted earlier today, out indefinitely on July 30th. Doesn't mean much to me, but it doesn't look like he's going to be back in like 2 or 3 weeks or anything. I'm expecting minimum the entire preseason.
All right, so that could affect the Eagles because, as we know, Jeff, he needs to play 75% of the snaps for them to get a first-round pick, or 70% of the snaps if the Colts make the playoffs. So, I don't know, if they don't get a first-round pick, do you look back at that trade and wonder, or you say, I can't think about that, you moved on from it?
Well, I got to look at it this way. If Carson Wentz is out, say, half the year, and the Colts don't make the playoffs, you probably got a high second-round pick for a guy that really didn't do much for him. And, I don't believe in the injury-prone label with any player, but Carson Wentz does get injured a lot. And I don't know how you tweak your foot 2 days in the camp when you're wearing shells and shorts. So that's really confusing to me. It's, it's just unfortunate that the Eagles probably won't get that third first-round pick, but that's okay. I mean, if you get a high second-round pick out of the deal, I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, Mike Silva reported that it involves a bone and a ligament and that he will undergo surgery in the near future. He's going to see a foot specialist to establish a firmer timeline, but the organization is kind of taking solace in the fact that they're 6 weeks away from week 1, and they're hoping that he can be ready for that. So we shall see. All right, let's go over to Eagles camp because the last couple of days, today they had a lot of guys sitting out resting, but let's go with Devonta Smith. And, what we've seen from him the first couple of days in practice. He admitted his first day wasn't very good. He had a couple drops. Now, today, 4 touchdowns, seemed to be getting the hang of this wide receiver thing.
Yeah, I just followed the story to CBS Sports.com over this, and it was more of what Darius Slay has been helping out Devonta Smith with. And yesterday, Devonta Smith had the 80-yard touchdown over Steven Nelson and Kayvon Ball. I got to get used to saying Steve Nelson. He prefers to be Steve, not Steven. But that's okay. But Devonta Smith has had his moments. But if you're looking at how he's doing against Darius Slay, man, the 3-time Pro Bowler is just owning the rookie over these last couple days. And, that's to be expected, obviously. Devonta Smith has only practiced 3 times. And, Darius Slay's been doing this for 8 years now, and he's been really good at doing it.
So what's more concerning, the fact that what's the bigger thing here, that he's having trouble with Slay, or that maybe Slay had a down year and is reinvigorated and playing well?
I think it could be both, Mike. Honestly, I think Darius Slay has. I'm trying to think of the term. Been around the barnyard, I guess. I guess that's the phrase for it. But he's been there before, and he probably knows every little nook and cranny Devonta Smith's going to do. But this is one thing I liked what Darius Slay said about him. He said, this guy always has a plan, and he knows what I'm going to do if I'm lined up on the inside or lined up on the outside. And he, has his moves, and, he said he's a really intelligent football player, and he's willing to learn a lot. And Darius Slay is willing to help him. He said, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm not going to hide anything from him. And, those two talk a lot, and Slay's getting tips from Devonta Smith as well. Those two are helping each other get better, and I think it's going to benefit both of them as Slay looks for a bounce back year, and Devonta Smith wants to prove he was worth the 10th overall pick in the draft.
Yep, I know that everybody's going to have their eyes on Smith, but what about his partner on the other side, Jalen Reagor? What's the feeling there?
Well, Jalen Reagor, we haven't seen much of him. He's failed the conditioning test. There were reasons for that. The death of a close friend of his. That didn't help, and I guess he's been not in the zone, but he's practicing in the individual portion of practice. What worries me is he's not getting off to this great start of camp. If you really want to be honest, we're only in helmets and shells, but this is the start Jalen Reagor should be under right now.
Right, because a lot of people, Jeff, had anticipated, hey, he's a bounce-back guy. He's the kind of guy, hey, look for a breakout for year number 2, and he comes in, he's already failed the physical. So did Dallas Goedert. Any reason why there?
Yeah, did you hear about that? I don't know if you got the whole story on that, but apparently Dallas Goedert ran the wrong way in this conditioning test, and when you do that, you fail. So it's one of those, like, how the U.S. 4x400 relay team, I don't know if you read about this, like, how they showed the video of it, but they took the baton too late or something like that. They were trying to cheat the system, and they ended up getting DQ'd. That's pretty much what Dallas Goedert did.
All right, so this isn't him coming in fat and happy. He just was a bonehead.
Yeah, pretty much. And, I would love to hear Dallas Goedert's comments on it, but because I'm like, wow, how do you, screw that up? But, I guess you and I could do that, too.
Most likely, yes. We would probably be running the wrong direction. All right, let's look at what we know at left tackle after a couple of practices. It would have seemed, Jeff, and you can probably speak more to this, no one has established himself. This battle will go into the 3 preseason games.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jeff Stoutland admitted as such, don't make too much of Andre Dillard being the starter on the first day, because he said him and Jordan Mailata are going to rotate. Well, Jordan Mailata was the starter on the second day. And pretty much from what I've gathered, and I love what I think it was Lane Johnson who said it. I'm trying to remember what offensive lineman said it. Might have been Lane Johnson. I'm trying to remember which player said what here. Oh, no, it was Ryan Kerrigan. That's right. Ryan Kerrigan said he really likes both players, and he said they both are going to be tremendous talents in this league. So that's good to hear. I know that's team speak, but he's a defensive end. He's going up against these guys, and he's been around the league. If Ryan Kerrigan says that, I feel a lot better about both of these players at this point. But you're right, Mike. I don't think we're going to know who the starting left tackle of this team is until they prepare for the first game of the season.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think we're going to see – it'll be interesting to see how they play these 3 preseason games. Remember, there's only 3, but are you going to put 2 potential starting guys out there for a half each or rotate them through series? How they kind of play those guys in games, that will be interesting. Let me ask you this, Jeff. If Seumalo is week to week, Herbig right now apparently is playing left guard. Does Herbig have a shot to win that job if he performs well and keeps Seumalo on the bench?
So I actually asked John McMullen this today, and because John McMullen he comes on Bird 6'5" every day, and I asked him straight up.
I've heard of him before.
Yeah. I was going to say, you know him pretty well. And he goes, Jeff, don't look too much into this. They really like Isaac Seumalo. Isaac Seumalo is going to be the starting left guard of this football team, but they do like Nate Herbig. Nate Herbig is a valuable backup for them, but don't worry about Isaac. They really like Isaac Seumalo. He's going to be fine. They're really high on him.
All right, so the other question, I guess, would be Landon Dickerson. What do we know about his status and where he might you already have an injury at left guard. Brandon Brooks is out at right guard. Dickerson's not ready to go. What do we know about where he is?
Well, from everything I've gathered, this year is, I don't want to call it a redshirt year for Landon Dickerson, but it kind of is because they drafted him to replace either A. Jason Kelce or B. Brandon Brooks down the line. And I have a feeling it's probably going to be Jason Kelce because Jason Kelce is going to retire. Brandon Brooks still has a lot of football left to be played, but I think they are going to show him the center position and the right guard position just to have all their boundaries covered there. So this year, I am not expecting Landon Dickerson to see the football field that much.
Jalen Hurts, I'm reading a stat. This is Jalen Hurts' last 2 practices, 25 of 30 with 5 touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, and no interceptions. After maybe a shaky first day, it seems that Hurts has kind of settled in and really taken command of this offense. I say that knowing that Nick Sirianni today had to stop practice and essentially tell everybody, we are not crisp enough. Details, everybody.
Yeah, and the players seem to have responded to that. I think they kind of liked how their coach called them out because it seemed they finished practice really well. I kind of like that about Nick Sirianni, honestly. He's being honest with these guys. He is trying to be their friend, but at the same time, he's also showing some discipline here. Be like, look, guys, this is unacceptable. I knew everybody blew up the Derek Gunn tweet today where they have a long way to go before week 1, and Barrett Brooks said, look, I was standing right next to him. I don't know what he's talking about. I see a team that's hungry, that's fresh. And so I guess it's just a matter of perspective from, and Derek Gunn's been around a long time, but Barrett Brooks has been in the league. So, we know how this all works. But, it seemed like once you took Jalen Hurts out of those red zone packages that favor cornerbacks, it really started to open up the field for him. And he's been taking advantage of it. I saw a couple times where Jalen Hurts was able to extend the play and had nice footwork outside the pocket, and that's what Nick Sirianni is watching. He specifically said, we are not working on his arm. We think his arm is fine. It's the footwork. It's the legs. It's him understanding the protections. That's what they're focusing on with Jalen Hurts right now, and seems to be working for him.
I want to get your take on the Josh Sweat, Derek Barnett battle, I guess you could say.
I was going to mention this to you before we came on. Yeah, we probably should talk about this. I think Derek Barnett's going to be the third down guy. I really do. And that's not a bad thing. I just think they're going to rotate those two around. I think Josh Sweat is better suited for those first or second downs, and Derek Barnett can be that guy. He can go after the quarterback on third downs. And, I think ultimately Barnett might end up playing more snaps because you can move him around on both sides of the field. I don't know if you can do that with Josh Sweat yet. But Derek Barnett as a third down pass rusher sounds really intriguing.
Zach McPherson, I'm interested in that battle as well. Not battle, I guess, but now that he doesn't have to get thrusted into the starting role because you got Nelson, it seems that he's getting a different look, and it's been encouraging.
My stock on Zach McPherson went way up when they signed Steve Nelson, just because you didn't have to force him in there. That was the one thing I didn't want to see. This kid just get absolutely owned in camp in the preseason and the regular season because the Eagles decided to, I'll borrow a Phillies term, not go over the luxury tax because they didn't want to get a second corner. Well, they did get one, and all of a sudden Avonte Maddox looks better in the slot, and Avonte Maddox seems happy, and he's helping Zach McPherson out. And Darius Slay and Steve Nelson. Zach McPherson gets to do what young draft picks, especially mid-round draft picks, should be doing, learning.
Hey, this is going to be kind of off the beaten path, maybe. Get your opinion. Davion Taylor, expectations?
I didn't have any going into the year. It's, if someone would have asked me to name, like, the Eagles linebackers on the depth chart, Davion Taylor probably would have been 5th or 6th. Like, it's just not out of a random order because you kind of forgot about the guy. He pretty much barely got on the field last year. He definitely didn't get on defense, but man, has he looked impressive these first 2 days. And we were talking about this with McMullen, believe it or not, about Davion Taylor. And, I kept saying, okay, the Eagles are going to rush multiple guys. Like, they're going to not rush 4 anymore because there's going to be certain blitz packages. Who is going to be that Anthony Barr type player that you see go after the passer? And John McMullen goes, how about Davion Taylor? And I said, that's a good point. Like, because they didn't really have a guy like that. It was probably him or Ryan Kerrigan that, I would have guessed Ryan Kerrigan to start, but Davion Taylor, he's not in there because he's a high draft pick that the Eagles invested in. He's in with those guys because he's outperforming his competition right now. Oh, and Alex Singleton's been out, so.
Yeah, he is out, so that gives Taylor a chance to kind of get in there. Eric Wilson, a lot of interesting storylines. Those are just a few. At Jeff Kerr, CBS Sports, 97.3 ESPN. When the Eagles news happens, we'll be all over it right here on the Sports Bath with Jeff Kerr. And, of course, he's back on Monday with the Eagles weekend. They've got that Saturday night practice, right?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I think it's a later practice. They don't practice Sunday. So it's a later practice Saturday, and then I think it's back to the normal schedule on Monday.
All right, and then, of course, August 12th, you can hear the Eagles open the preseason against the Pittsburgh Steelers right here on 97.3 ESPN. I actually won't be here on the 12th. I will be traveling the 12th, and the Eagles will open up the 12th, so we'll have more news, of course, as we lead up to that game. But August 12th leads it all off. Eagles, Steelers, right here on your home for Eagles football, 97.3 ESPN. Jeff
Copy.
Kerr, everybody. Jeff, have a great weekend, man.
Yep, you too, Mike. Have a good weekend. Safe travels.